We need to have our vision and our sight corrected. We need to address our lives to the plumb line of God, the standard of God, the cross of Christ Jesus. Not academically, religiously, or superficially, but in the actual experience of our lives as those who have come willing to abandon everything, to enter into a darkness, to rend every veil that keeps us from coming into that inner sanctuary that was described tonight. In a willingness even to yield up the ghost with a loud voice. To the Romans, the cross was always perverse, unrespectable, unaesthetic, totally inappropriate to God, a scandal. Have you made peace with that scandal? Would you be willing to suffer expulsion and death in identification with it? Only one who is himself perverse and unrespectable can suffer the scandal of the cross. How many of us secretly believe that we're doing God a favor? Others needed to be saved out of their sin, and though we technically acknowledge, well, maybe that was true, our deepest heart believes that God saw in us some virtue and some ability that He needs to employ for His kingdom, and we have somehow a special basis for our relationship, which is different from that of others. The cross is the only basis. The cross in truth. For those who can receive its scandal. A writer says that the cross is the utterly incommensurable factor in the revelation of God, and that we have become far too used to it. We have made a theory of salvation out of it, but that is not the cross. We have sentimentalized and distorted and taken the sting out of it. We have negated its death and suffering. It needs to be recalled as an event, and we need to make it for ourselves an event, the central, pivotal event of all our faith in life. All must go dark for us, become as night in the daytime of our comfortable religious understanding. The veil was rent, the rocks were rent, the graves were opened, and the dead came forth into the holy city. It needs to happen again. At the only place that it can happen, in a true coming to this scandalous union of suffering and death with Him. Now I've spoken what God has given me. It's been my experience in 14 years as a believer and about 11 years in full-time service that there's no message more difficult to proclaim than the cross. There's nothing more difficult to press on the true consciousness of God's saints than the glory of this cross. We have become too used to it. We have made of it only a theory for salvation. We've come to altar calls after altar call and invitation after invitation. We've laid our lives down before Christ again and again and again, and yet somehow we're still very much alive. The veil of selfishness and self-interest and vanity and pride is still not rent. The rocks of our heart are still not split. We still remain dead and in our tombs. Few of us have entered the holy city, let alone the sanctuary and the holy place. So I'm just going to invite you to come to this cross. It needs to become an event.